If you're a naturalized citizen right now, you're probably seeing headlines that are making you nervous. You might be thinking, am I safe? Can they take my citizenship away? I'm Henry Charles with US News 24, and I'm going to give you the straight facts today, because you need the truth, not the panic. Let me cut right to it. The US Constitution guarantees that once you're a naturalized citizen, the government cannot just strip that away. Full stop. This isn't a political opinion. This is constitutional law that's been upheld for over a century. But here's where the confusion comes in. There are proposals floating around, there's misinformation on social media, and people are mixing up completely different immigration issues. That's what we're clearing up today. Here's the bottom line about your citizenship. If you went through the naturalization process, passed your civics test, took the oath, and got your certificate from a judge or immigration officer, you are a U.S. citizen with full constitutional protection. The government cannot revoke it because policies change. It can't happen through an executive order. It can't happen because a politician wants it. This is locked in by the Constitution and Supreme Court rulings that are decades old. Now, I know what you're wondering. Are there any exceptions? Yes, there's one, and it's narrow. Your citizenship can only be taken away if the government can prove in federal court that you committed fraud or concealed material facts when you applied. But here's the thing. This is incredibly difficult. It requires actual court proceedings, evidence, due process, the whole legal process. The government would have to prove you deliberately lied on your N-400 application, that you hid criminal history, or that you concealed information that would have made you ineligible. These cases are rare because the legal bar is sky high, and the government has to do real work to prove it. Let's talk about what's actually happening in 2026. The Trump administration is focused on immigration enforcement against undocumented immigrants, deportations, and border security. Notice what I said. They're targeting people without legal status, not naturalized citizens like you. This distinction matters because the fear spreading in immigrant communities right now comes from people blurring these lines together. You are a U.S. citizen. You have the same constitutional protections as someone born in America. You are not the target of immigration enforcement because you don't have undocumented status. Period. What has changed is how aggressive enforcement has become. You're seeing more ICE operations, more visible enforcement activity, stricter detention policies. But all of that is aimed at undocumented immigrants and people without legal status, not you. I'm saying this explicitly because I know there's real fear out there, but it's based on a misunderstanding of what's actually protected. Now let me address something specific that's circulating all over social media because it's causing real panic. People are claiming the Trump administration is making it easier to denaturalize citizens, or that they're revoking citizenship based on political disagreements. That's not what's happening. There's been zero change to the legal standard for denaturalization. No legislation passed to lower the bar for revoking citizenship. No court rulings that change constitutional protections. This claim is everywhere online, but it's not grounded in legal reality. It's rumors and speculation. Are there discussions happening about prosecuting immigration fraud more aggressively? Yes. Are there proposals to pursue more denaturalization cases? Yes. But proposals are not laws. Discussions are not changes. And even if those proposals moved forward, they'd still run into the same constitutional requirements for due process, evidence, and that high legal standard for proving fraud. The legal bar doesn't drop just because priorities change. Let me give you real context on how denaturalization actually works in practice. When the government pursues these cases, they're dealing with people who hid serious criminal history, provided false biographical information, were in the country fraudulently, or belonged to terrorist organizations. These cases take years. They cost tens of thousands of dollars. The person being sued has the right to legal representation and to challenge the evidence. They're not fast. They're not easy. They're not common. So if you got your citizenship lawfully, answered honestly on your application, committed no fraud, and disclosed what you were supposed to, you have nothing to worry about legally. Your citizenship is protected. Now let me give you practical steps to take in this climate, not because your citizenship is at risk, but because clarity gives you peace of mind. First, keep your naturalization certificate somewhere safe. Make copies if you need to. This document is your clearest evidence of citizenship. Second, understand your rights as a U.S. citizen. You have the right to legal representation. You have the right to due process. You have protections that non-citizens don't have. Know them. Third, if you have family members who haven't naturalized yet or who are permanent residents, help them understand their status. Encourage eligible permanent residents to apply for naturalization because naturalized citizenship is more secure than permanent resident status in uncertain times. If you have undocumented family members, don't encourage them to ignore the system, hoping things change. The enforcement environment isn't favorable for that right now. They need to talk to a real immigration attorney about options. Fourth, keep your immigration records organized. Your naturalization certificate, passport, any USCIS correspondence, documents showing your immigration journey, have it all together. If anything unusual ever happens or you're contacted by any government agency, organized records help immensely. Fifth, and this is crucial, be careful about the advice you give family members and the sources you trust. There's a tsunami of misinformation right now about what's legal, what's changing, and what people should fear. The only reliable sources are the official USCIS website, USCIS customer service, and qualified immigration attorneys. Not YouTube videos, not social media, not stories from your cousin's neighbor. If someone needs immigration advice, they need an actual attorney. When should you consult an immigration attorney? If you're a naturalized citizen with no legal issues in your immigration history, you probably don't need one just to protect your citizenship. Your citizenship is already protected by law. But if you have family members with immigration issues, if you're trying to help someone navigate the system, if you want to sponsor a relative, or if government agents ever contact you about immigration matters, you need a qualified attorney. Qualified means licensed, specializing in immigration law, and ideally accredited by the Board of Immigration Appeals, or working for a reputable immigration organization. Here's what the current environment means for your family going forward. If you have permanent resident family members who are eligible for naturalization, now is the time. Naturalization provides more security than permanent resident status, and there's no guarantee that permanent resident status will stay the same. The naturalization process hasn't changed. It still requires residency requirements, English proficiency, civics knowledge, and moral character. But if your family members are eligible, pursuing it now is a smart move. If you have undocumented family members, the current environment is active and aggressive, with enforcement and deportations happening. Undocumented status leaves people extremely vulnerable. This situation requires professional guidance from an immigration attorney. There might be pathways available that undocumented immigrants don't even know exist. In other cases, families need to develop a realistic plan and prepare for different scenarios. Don't do this casually, and don't do it without a lawyer. If you want to sponsor family members from outside the United States, understand that the current administration may make this harder, more expensive, or slower. Family-based immigration sponsorship is still legal, but requirements may get stricter, visas available might decrease, and processing could slow down. If you have a family member you want to bring over, don't delay. Talk to an immigration attorney about what's viable and what timeline to expect. Here's what happens when you travel as a naturalized citizen. You are a U.S. citizen. You have the right to a U.S. passport. That right is not denied to naturalized citizens. Period. However, be aware that when you travel to your country of origin or other countries, those countries might treat you differently. Some countries don't fully recognize dual citizenship. Some have military service obligations. This isn't a U.S. immigration issue, but it's worth knowing. When you travel, carry your U.S. passport and your naturalization certificate. This is the clearest proof of your citizenship. Let me address the misinformation directly because it's distorting how people interpret what's actually happening. One claim, The government is preparing to strip naturalized citizens of citizenship en masse. This is not happening. There's no legal mechanism for it. There's no legislative proposal for it. It violates the Constitution. Stop believing this claim no matter how many times you see it online. Another claim. Certain nationalities or religious groups are being targeted for denaturalization. While immigration enforcement may focus on certain geographic areas, denaturalization cases are pursued based on fraud and legal violations, not ethnicity or religion. Targeting citizenship revocation based on race, religion, or national origin would be unconstitutional. A third common claim: you need to do something dramatic right now to protect your citizenship. Renounce your old citizenship, hire a lawyer to file protective paperwork, register with some organization. None of this is necessary. Your citizenship is already legally protected. If you retain citizenship from your country of origin, that's between you and that country. It doesn't affect your U.S. citizenship. Formal renunciation can happen through your country's embassy if you want it, but it's not required for your U.S. citizenship to be secure. You don't need protective paperwork. You don't need to pay for citizenship protection services. These things prey on fear and take money from vulnerable people. Your citizenship is protected by the Constitution, not by extra paperwork. Here's what's actually fact as of 2026. Immigration enforcement is active and visible. The current administration prioritizes deporting undocumented immigrants and enforcing immigration laws. Some policies have been tightened, but naturalized citizenship is constitutionally protected. The legal standard for denaturalization hasn't changed. There's no legal pathway for the government to revoke your citizenship without court proceedings and proof of fraud. If you obtain citizenship lawfully and honestly, you are safe. This isn't hope or optimism. This is legal fact. That said, the immigration environment is different than it was a few years ago. There's more enforcement activity, more visibility about immigration in the news, more political focus on it, and more anxiety in communities. That's real. It's reasonable to feel concerned given these circumstances. But distinguish between a changed political environment and an actual legal change to your status. These are not the same thing. Here's your action plan. Stay informed about immigration news, but only from reliable sources: USCIS website, State Department website, reputable news outlets that do real fact-checking, and licensed immigration attorneys. Social media, viral videos, forwarded messages, and speculation are not reliable. Help your family understand their immigration status and what options exist. If anyone needs legal help, connect them with a qualified attorney. Keep your documents organized. Understand your rights as a citizen. You can legally change your name, get a passport, vote, run for office, sponsor family members, and live without fear of deportation. These are real rights that citizenship gives you. If you're feeling underlying anxiety about your status, even though you know legally that you're protected, that's understandable. The immigration environment has been uncertain for years. If you experienced years of worry and caution before becoming a citizen, that doesn't just disappear because you understand the law. Be gentle with yourself. Your fear made sense at one point. If you need support processing the stress and anxiety, reach out to community organizations, immigration advocates, or counselors. That support exists for you. I want to be absolutely clear. This video is not providing personal legal advice. Every immigration situation is unique. Every family's circumstances are different. This is general education about immigration law and policy. It's not a substitute for talking to a qualified immigration attorney about your specific situation. If you have any doubt about your status, any legal complications in your immigration history, if you want to sponsor a family member, or if you want guidance on anything immigration related, talk to an actual attorney who knows your complete situation. How do you find a qualified immigration attorney? Look for attorneys licensed in your state who specialize in immigration law. Check the Board of Immigration Appeals accredited representative list. Contact the American Immigration Lawyers Association for referrals. Ask community organizations, religious institutions, or immigrant advocacy groups for recommendations. Many attorneys offer free or low-cost consultations, so you can talk to someone without paying big money up front. Be cautious of anyone who guarantees results, promises you can stay no matter what, or demands large cash payments. These are red flags for immigration fraud or unethical practice. As we move through 2026 and beyond, immigration policy will keep changing. It'll stay contested. But here's what doesn't change. Your citizenship is constitutionally protected. Policy shifts, enforcement adjusts, the political environment feels uncertain, but your citizenship is yours. You did what the law required. You became an American citizen through a lawful process. That status is permanent. The path forward isn't through fear or panic. It's through knowledge. It's through staying informed from reliable sources. It's through helping your family understand their status and options. It's through recognizing that in the United States, despite all its flaws and challenges, the rule of law still provides real protections for those who understand how to use them. You have those protections now. Use them. Understand them. Help others understand them too. If this has helped you feel clearer about what naturalized today citizenship actually means and what it actually protects, subscribe to US News 24. We release fact-based immigration information regularly, and we're committed to cutting through misinformation and giving you clarity. Share this video with anyone in your life who's a naturalized citizen or considering naturalization and needs to understand what's actually protected and what's actually changing. Drop a comment below if you have questions about naturalized citizenship, if you've heard claims you want us to address, or if there are other immigration topics you want covered with this same fact-based approach. Your questions help us create content that serves what you actually need. Thanks for watching US News 24, where accurate information is the best protection for immigrant families.